Keenan Flagler Business School, a community that we all hold well and dear to our hearts, has had a problem for many years now, and is a problem that we want to help address. Time and time again, students walk into the classroom expecting to find new ways to look at how the world works, find new ways to learn strategies and information that will help them succeed in the careers that they want to pursue, and find the happiness that they want after graduating from this wonderful institution. However, when they walk in and out of these classrooms, they're not walking into classrooms that exemplify excellence. They're walking into rooms that are covered in papers and cups, drinks, just trash. And this is a problem that has been prevalent enough where our group decided this is something we can no longer ignore. This is something in which we needed to look deeper into this issue and to see what is driving this problem throughout our wonderful building. So in order to achieve this, we decided to do a few things in our analysis. We decided to look at the expectancy that students have for cleaning up their own trash, cleaning up the trash of their fellow classmates, or even people they don't even know when they walk into the room. What is the reaction when authority figures make mention of the trash left in rooms that they teach in, or of the dean when they go around the building and notice that it's not as pristine as the school would like it to be? What happens when individuals look at other classmates taking trash out of the room? Do they have a feeling of obligation to do the same for their trash or someone else's? These are all important aspects that we want to look at for our project and really dive deep into the mindset of the student body here. The Keenan Flagler Business School is a very important place, and honestly, it's one that's going to be here for a very, very long time. And in order to maintain the prestige and the title that it's held for so long, we need to do better. We have to do better. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that our classrooms reflect the excellence that we expect from our students, faculty, and our community.
Usually when I come into a classroom, the first thing I notice is a lot of papers left over from previous classes, cups, food wrappers, things like that. And I tend to feel that students find that distracting. I always think about that when I look at a classroom, whether it's the chalkboards or trash on the tables, that's going to be your first impression when they walk in a room. And especially for a university such as UNC with such high reputation, you would want that similar quality in the classroom.
So to test our problem, we started off by staging trash in certain classrooms around Keenan Flagler's campus and noticing what happened throughout the classroom and how individuals responded to different stimuli that we introduced. We estimated that most of the trash that was placed in the classrooms was from ourselves, that was strategically placed around on either the ground or on certain desks or even in certain chairs to get a sense for how people would react to trash in all areas of the classroom. Now, what we decided to do is we wanted to focus on how expectancy theory not only played into all this, but how we could tamper with the expectancy theory. What we found is the E to P link for most students was probably solidified. Since the E to P link does talk about putting forth effort and hopefully succeeding in the task or job, we figured that that's pretty simplistic, right? The task is to pick up trash, and if you put in that effort, it is a clear link that by simply picking up trash and putting it in the trash can, the E to P link in that scenario is clear. What we did figure out, however, is the P to O link for both scenarios. One, being able to pick up your own trash, and second, to be able to pick up others' trash, was not necessarily consistent. Individuals, we assumed, didn't see that their own contribution their own efforts might not lead to the reward, since if they couldn't pick up others' trash, or if even by picking up their own and others' trash were still left behind, it wouldn't make a difference overall. Another issue that we considered was the consideration of both intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. For a task like this, the intrinsic motivation is kind of hard to incorporate, not only because individuals don't see a clear reward with picking up their own trash besides a clean classroom, but two, because it's hard to administer an award for doing something that we were hoping would become more of a routine task and not a task to get rewarded for in some kinds of a monetary component or something of that nature. Therefore, we really focused on intrinsic motivation, hoping to be able to help people want to pick up trash, not because there was some kind of materialistic reward at the end, but for their own well-being and as a contribution to the social environment of Keenan Flagler overall.
So our group made 2 signs that we hung up in different classrooms. The first one said, "Janitorial staff only visit this room once a day. Please do your part to make their job easier by cleaning up when you leave." And the other one said, "Don't leave your stuff for someone else. Toss out your unwanted items here." And so the main aim with these two signs actually was the reciprocity principle, in that the janitorial staff and someone else, i.e. other classmates, do their part and have work to clean for you. And so essentially with that, we encourage the people to clean for themselves. And the two signs ultimately did not have much effect, and we found that this reciprocity principle, at least from the signs perspective, wasn't too important to calling out to the other classmates in terms of making them pick up trash that they saw.
Our group members tried to test social proof and see how that would work in several of the classrooms we were in throughout the day. So the way we would go about that was, after a class period ended, we would essentially pick up some of the trash in our area, not over exaggerating it, but at the same time, being clear about our actions. And we hoped that would work, but it really ended up being pretty ineffective, with probably only a quarter of the trash being picked up. We're not entirely sure of the reasons, but we could probably attribute this to people not necessarily thinking of it as important, or just not really thinking of it consciously as they try to pick up their things, go about their day, and move on to their next class.
We also tested authority in the classrooms to see how students would react to an authority figure telling them to pick up their trash. We did this in our 405 classroom and found that over 1/3 of the trash that was left in the classroom by us was picked up after our professor made an announcement.
Think about daily ethical decisions that you're faced with even now, right? So whether it is things like just making sure that you're looking at someone in the eye when you're talking to them and not on your phone, whether it is, picking up trash that you see around you, even if it's not your own, being concerned about other people's well-being if you see someone who needs help.
We were really surprised by this. We thought that social and liking would be more prevalent among students who are all in classes together and wish to maintain good, long-lasting relationships. But we really found that the top-down approach worked best with trash removal, and that all of the students responded both immediately and at the end of the classroom, though we're not sure yet whether this was a long-lasting effect that affected future classes other than the class that professor was teaching.
So here we are. After our experiment, we came to a number of important but also very interesting observations. So through our findings, we saw that students really don't take much action in lowering the level of trash found in our classrooms. And also, they don't really seem to react too much to ambiguous signs that come from some individual, whether it's an authority figure or not. And also, unfortunately, even through peer conversations, that didn't seem to really have too much of an effect on trash levels either. There was one important note, however, which was when someone of direct authority, like a professor, made direct mention of or request for a reduction in trash. When that happened, we saw an actual real change in student behavior. So our recommendation is that Keenan Flagler take that response, take that relationship between professor and student, and run with it. Make it so that professors use the power that their role gives them to the fullest extent, and make the request, make the requirement, leave the room in a way that you would want to enter it in. Remove your trash, remove your friend's trash. Do whatever is necessary to make our rooms as clean as they possibly can be.
In terms of other recommendations, we think that appealing to consistency through signs next time would be a valid technique, as making sure that people's values, the Keenan Flagler core values, maybe that excellence piece, making sure you're excellent all that you do, even if that's protecting your space, not littering, something like that could have elicited more effect. But also another recommendation we have is being more personal with classmates. So if we went up to a person maybe one-on-one, we could use liking and social proof in that manner, so we could develop, again, leverage our relationship to kind of convince people to throw their trash away.
With those recommendations, while it's not going to be easy, if you stick with it, it's going to be a solution for a problem that really doesn't have any need to exist. With that said, throw away your trash.
Are we dancers?